Hello, it's very Lekema. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you kind of the first module from the course I'm releasing on how to increase your conversion rates, right? How to sell in dentistry and how to make sure that during these really tough times economically where people's mortgage rates are up 60% in a lot of cases, that you'll still be able to get people to book their treatments, people to move forward with treatment plans, especially with higher stuff, higher paying stuff such as Invisalign or implants, to make sure that you don't end up missing out on more patients and more revenue, etc. And that obviously you get to help the people that need it. So this little module is going to be on the mindset stuff. And I personally think it's the most important stuff because even if you know how to answer, even if you know how to go with a rebuttal, right? If you know how to counter their questions or anything like that, the main tool in your arsenal is going to be you having the good mindset of helping people and trying to get them across to the treatment to make sure that they have the best possible treatment right with you, of course, because you're going to be the vehicle for that. So enjoy the video. It's not going to be too long. Enjoy it. I'll leave the link to the Notion page, so the page itself, that way you can read it afterwards, in the description. Enjoy. Hello. Okay, so mindset, the smithing hammer. And the reason I call it the smithing hammer is because if you're going to sharpen any tool, or not even sharpen, if you're going to make any tool and let it be strong and of good quality, it's often the smithing hammer and of course the process of smithing itself that allows it to be the best tool possible, right? I'm not going to go into smithing. I literally have no idea how it specifically works. I've only seen cool videos of it, but that's the reason why I have the mindset stuff under the smithing hammer, right? Under the smithing itself. So in the agenda, in what we're going to be covering in this video, is your beliefs, your moral obligations, and sales not actually being about sales, right? So let's start off with your beliefs. And by the way, I just want to make a quick note. If you believe that you don't need to work on your mindset, or that you've got everything already figured out, then sorry to break it to you, but it's not true. Of course, I could be wrong. You could be an exception where you are, you and your practice are making millions and millions a year, right? Over 6 figures a month easily. You're having 90 to 100% conversion rates with your patients coming in. But I doubt that. And not in a mean way, as in we will have space to grow. And it's better for us to admit that and try to grow than for us to harden our little shell and let our ego get the best of us. So let's get started. So your beliefs. The biggest driver of your beliefs is your identity. And oftentimes we are limiting our beliefs to limit our growth. We know what we are, but not what we may be. That's what Shakespeare said. And for example, when I first started my business, I believed that people who were making 6 figures a month were immoral and more horrible people who exploited others. With that belief, how am I supposed to ever make it 6 figures a month? I wouldn't. I would subconsciously sabotage myself to never ever reach those numbers. So how do you think your mindset on sales and other things as a dentist will affect your capabilities? Right? So the common beliefs that you might have is that sales is sleazy. If I push the treatment, I feel like the person won't like or trust me. People should understand the benefits of the treatment. I shouldn't have to convince them. People will dislike me and judge me if I try to sell them anything. I can't convince people very well. Now, these beliefs tend to actually come from 2 or 3 fears or main beliefs, which is the fear of rejection, the fear of confrontations and conflict, and a lack of self-confidence. Now, look, you might think, well, actually, I don't really fear rejection, or I'm fine with confrontation in most cases, only if they're justified, which is, that's a fair thing to say. And for example, I'd definitely say I don't I don't have a lack of self-confidence, but if I feel like people will dislike me sometimes, then I'm kind of merging the fear of confrontation that I might have with a potential fear of the lack of self-confidence, right? Well, not fear of lack of self-confidence, but lack of self-confidence. Do you see what I mean? These kind of come in together because if you fear rejection, you're making sure that you're not rejected, but to make sure you're not rejected, you're kind of staying away from confrontations and conflict. So these common beliefs aren't actually beliefs about sales themselves. They're deeply rooted in common objections and fears that we have with ourselves, right? So your action step is to be able to better understand why I wasn't succeeding for me. I created a document called identity-based beliefs. These were the beliefs I had around my identity, who I was, right? So it was who I was right now and who I thought other people saw me as. Afterwards, I opened a second document and placed them side by side, and I wrote the exact opposite of every statement. So if I quickly show you what this looks like here, obviously I'm going to delete it in a second, but just so you have kind of a visual representation, what I would do is I would literally just make a list. Oops, don't need that there. I would literally make a list of, for example, let's say, okay, people see me as cocky, for example, right? I am undisciplined. These are old beliefs, by the way. I don't necessarily believe them now. Just giving you examples. I find it hard to concentrate and get work done. All right, this one's kind of true still. I mean, I'm okay with concentrating, just getting a lot of work done that I'm planning on. Sometimes takes longer than I hope. I'm going to give 2 more examples just for the sake of the bullet points. I can't wake up on time. I find it hard to exercise every day. Okay, so without going too much into detail as to the sort of beliefs or identity you have according to these beliefs you have in yourself, I want to give 2 or 3 examples that are the main ones, right? I am undisciplined, I can't wake up on time, and I find it hard to exercise every day. If you saw yourself as someone who was disciplined, right? If you saw yourself as someone who at least tries to be more disciplined, then you will automatically form an identity by doing little things every day, such as waking up on time, to prove to yourself that you are disciplined. So it literally all starts with beliefs. It starts with beliefs, so thoughts, sorry, if we think about it, if we reverse engineer it, it's thoughts, beliefs, actions, reality. And then your reality backs up your thoughts, which then create beliefs, action, reality. Right? So by saying I am undisciplined, I'm never going to wake up on time. By saying I'm not going to wake up on time, I'm finding it hard to fit in the time to exercise every day. Does that make sense? So if you can write down little things, and obviously try and keep it to do with sales for this example, but you don't have to. You can do it for anything you want, right? Write down bullet points and write down as many as you can. It might take 10, 15, 20 minutes. But the point is, once you move this needle, everything else is going to move with it. So write down the bullet points around your identity, what you think people see you as and what you see yourself as. And then on an opposite one, create a document, right? So, for example, I noticed that rewriting the statements were beginning to form someone who wasn't immoral, horrible, exploitative about the 6 figures a month thing. Rather, it was someone that had worked hard. So, for example, giving the opposite of I am undisciplined, you can obviously guess it. I am disciplined. I never wake up on time. I always wake up on time. I find it really easy to exercise during the day. It's literally just reversing that statement. You realize how silly the negative statement is. And by the way, before you make an argument of, yeah, but some of them are true, as I just mentioned, your thoughts technically, right, if you reverse engineer it to the T, technically create your reality. So if your reality is going to be based around you being disciplined, it's because your thoughts were of you being disciplined first, before your reality ever came into existence. So pause the video, create the document. I'll have the templates in the download section. That way you don't have to write it out yourself. And for the next 10, 15 minutes, I want you to map out your current beliefs and write down the opposites. Okay? So go ahead, pause it now if you haven't already. Go ahead to the description, check it out, fill it in, and you can come back. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you've paused and you haven't continued the video. If you have, just go on, just go back and do the exercise, right? Generally, it might feel silly, but you need to do it. Okay, so now that you've taken the time to challenge your beliefs, it's time to look at and remind you of your moral obligations as a dentist. You train for years and years to be able to practice, right? Anywhere from 5 to 7, and with all the courses and everything, it takes upwards of 10, 15. Each person has their own reason for becoming a dentist, but I'm sure that one of the reasons was to help people become more confident and healthier. When a 70-year-old grandma walks in and she tells you that she's been having issues chewing, that she scares her grandchildren when she smiles, and that her mouth is closed in every family photo, what do you feel? Do you not feel morally obliged to help this woman get the implants she needs and fix her relationships with her grandchildren? For her to eat without pain? To look forward to family photos instead of dread them? Okay, well, I hope the answer was yes, but if the woman said, I need to think about it, you wouldn't go, yeah, sure thing. I mean, I hope you'd fight back. You remind her of exactly why she came in, what her issues are, and you'd ask what exactly she'd need to think about. When you look at it, when you look at it this way, every person who walks into a consultation is asking for your help. They need your help. And you should never, ever allow them to walk out that chair without having received 100% of your care and attention. If they leave and they don't go forward with it, but you gave it 100%, then that's fine. The truth of life. So, living via the truth is known to be the hardest yet most rewarding, most importantly, least depressing way of living the already difficult lives we live. And least depressing in the sense that it's the most fulfilling. So, in this case, challenging your patients when they throw objections at you or giving them 100% all the time, it's not easy. But once you shift your mindset to be that of someone whose moral duty is to help others, then it becomes part of your identity, right? If you're thinking, it's my moral duty to help this person, you will believe it is your moral duty to help this person, you will take the actions that prove it is your moral duty to help this person, and then in reality, you will be that person's savior in some way. So when I'm on a sales call, it's often because this person is struggling to get more patients for their practice. I know how their life would change if them and their team were able to help more people, make more money, and gain more peace of mind. Their family relationship will improve with the more time they have. They can finally support their team and that they care about. Their lives change because I saw the moral obligation to not let them leave the call if I could help them. The truth is, these people need you. So will you let them leave without giving you your all? That's a choice you have every day. And it's not an easy choice. As I stated, living via the truth in life is not easy at all, but it's definitely the most rewarding. And if you don't care too much about anything spiritual or anything like that, it's definitely the most rewarding financially. Sales is not about sales. So when value exceeds expectations and price in exchange is made, sales is about giving and serving, not specifically about making money. If it's not you who will help them, then it's someone else. And you have to understand that, right? Because you're not the only dentist in your local area. If you are, then good for you, you've got a monopoly. But if you don't help them, they'll just find another dentist to go to. And at the end of the day, the market demands what the market demands, right? I want to give a quick example for this on the market demands. So I'm going to keep it with dentistry. I've got the example of lawyers, but I'm going to keep it with dentistry. When someone calls up a practice and the practice doesn't answer, so nobody at reception is there, maybe they're on their lunch break, maybe they're swamped. If nobody answers, all they're going to do is phone the next person. Because this person is demanding attention right now to be able to book an appointment or a consultation. And because you weren't able to give them that, they went to someone else. That is the market's demand for you to always be available for them. And if you're not, then they'll find someone else who is. And trust me, there are people who are. If you're capable of giving the person what they need, you often are, you're just not handling the objections correctly, then you aren't doing anything to stop your competition winning. When you're quote unquote selling the treatment, you are in effect making sure that the person is receiving the treatment from you. Because guess what? Best case scenario, the person goes to another dentist. Worst case scenario for them, they never get their issues fixed, right? They either go to another dentist if you weren't able to quote unquote sell them, or they don't get their issue fixed. And guess what's most likely? Definitely going to be closer to the best case than the worst case scenario. Both are your responsibility. It's your responsibility for both of these outcomes to not happen. because the best case scenario is you helping them. Both are your responsibility. If this is heavy hitting, if it's making you rethink about how you're handling consultations and booked appointments, if you're thinking back to different scenarios where you've let the person slip out of your hands, then that's good. You're on the right track. If you felt nothing, then you definitely need to rewatch the video or read the document. Reflect as to why your ego is potentially stopping you from grasping anything I've said. Okay, if you haven't felt anything, it's because a part of you is not wanting you to understand it. Because if you're watching this video, it's not because your consultation to booked appointment conversion rate is 100%. As I mentioned at the start, unless you've got 90 to 100% conversion rate, right, absolutely effortless from you, you're fully booked all the time, you're making stacks on stacks on stacks, then fine, don't watch this video. You probably don't need it. But if you're not, then you do. You need to watch to understand what's going on. Thanks so much for watching. As I mentioned, this is the most important thing that's going to move the needle for you and your business, for your practice, for your team, for you to genuinely just live a happier life. If you challenge your current beliefs and make them what you think would be great for you and other people, then you're doing something already. And if you take everything as your moral obligation to do your best and live via the truth, then again, you're going to live a very, very fulfilling life. You're going to live an adventure. Are you kidding me? And if you understand that sales is not actually about sales, it's more so about helping people and you being the one to help them, not someone else, then you feel a lot less sleazy. Thank you for watching. See you in the next module.